Hi, everyone. Melody here from Learning in Progress. Thank you so much for tuning in this week for our Teacher Tidbit. Now, today I'm going to focus on an interactive game called Time to Climb, and it is offered through the Nearpod platform. And the reason I'm talking about this today is my upcoming blog, which will go live this weekend, really talks about different ways that we can engage our students, build classroom communities, specifically in the first week of school. Now, one of our most popular resources in our TPT store is the Nearpod Icebreaker games. And these can be played throughout the year for Fun Friday, but are definitely really engaging for that first week of school. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you through how you can make your own Time to Climb game for your students to enjoy throughout the year. All right, so here I am in my Nearpod library, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new lesson. And you can do so by either clicking here, create a lesson. You can go create lesson, or it's up here. So there's plenty of options for you. Let's go ahead and open that up. Now, before I walk you through how to make this Time to Climb activity, I do want to point out there are so many engaging and interactive features that Nearpod has to offer. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about those, go ahead and take a look at a previously recorded video. It was earlier this year, and I walk you through how you can make your own interactive lesson. I'll make sure to link that video in the description below. All right, so I'm going to go to Add Content and Activities. And you can see here, there's a lot of different ways to add content. That's really the heart of your lesson if you're using this for academics, which I highly recommend you do if you're not yet. But for today, we're going to go ahead and click on Activities and then click on Time to Climb. All right, so here we are in the setup for Time to Climb. And you can see all you need to do as the teacher is write your question, put some answer choices. You can add an image. For those of you that teach primary grades, you don't have to have text as your options. You can actually have images as your answer choices as well. Now, I do want to point out that you can absolutely use this for academics. I really recommend using it for exit tickets. It's a really fun way to check your kids' understanding. But for the purpose of this video, I'm focusing on back to school. And so I'm actually going to be writing the questions about my students. So if you want to read more or listen in, the topic of this week's blog post and the topic of the episode, our first episode actually for our new podcast, will go live this weekend. So make sure to check that out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and write a question about just kind of a made up student. So I might ask questions about their favorite things, what they enjoy doing. I've even asked questions about, who is our class president this month? Things like that. So what is Pablo's favorite subject? And you could put math, reading. You can add an answer. So I do want to point out, if you have the free version of Nearpod, there is a limit to how many answer choices you have. I believe it might be 4. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 4 if you're using the free version. So just keep that in mind when you're developing the questions. Now, I will say, if you go to save, let's say you develop all your questions and answers, and then you go to save and it's not saving, chances are you probably forgot to mark one of these answer choices. So just make sure you do that as you write the questions. Now, to add a question, you can either click Add a Question, or what I usually like to do is I actually duplicate the question. Now, before I go ahead and make question number 2, I want to point out a few options that you have up here. One, of course, like I mentioned, duplicating, but right next to that, there's a time limit. So this is great if you are doing, for instance, you're practicing math texts. So maybe you're practicing addition or multiplication and you're working on that automaticity with your kids. You can definitely change this timer to reflect the amount of think time you want. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 30 seconds just for now. And then another option here is to add an image. So this could be a helpful clue for those of you that teach primary. If you need a picture hint for your early readers, go ahead and take advantage of that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and change it. Maybe I want to ask my class about someone's favorite food. What is Robert's favorite food? And then you go ahead and you put different things. So maybe sushi, pizza, pasta. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that 30 seconds. I'm going to make a third question. I want to say that I recommend doing this type of activity after your kids have had some time to get to know each other. So maybe your first day of school, you do student interviews, or maybe you play student bingo or one of those activities. This would be a great follow-up activity later in the week. All right, so I've just made a 3-question time to climb game. And what I'm going to do now, and I'm just going to minimize these so you can see how to minimize those questions. So you can easily look over your quiz and then also change the order of those questions if needed. So you can always change the order or review the answers before saving. I'm going to go ahead and click on save. All right, before we see the student view of this, and I will go ahead and show you that, I'm going to go ahead and title this Time to Climb. And you can call it, of course, whatever you want, depending on the subject or the standard you're teaching that day. All right, save and exit. So now you're ready to assign your time to climb. And I'm just going to briefly go over your options here. So you can either do live participation with a Zoom meeting. You can do live participation or student paced, which means you're assigning it, perhaps you're posting it on Google Classroom. They go on independently on their own time. And that could be during independent work time in the classroom. It could be during centers, morning work. But they go on independently and they complete it on their own. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on student pace just for now. So here we are in student mode, and this is exactly what your students will see. So I went ahead and typed in my name, Learning in Progress, and I'm going to join the lesson. I'm going to scroll through so you can see your different options. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose the panda bear. So if we were playing this in class during a live lesson, you would actually see all of the other students on that same mountain and we'd be racing up together. It's really fun. So Pablo's favorite subject, I'm going to go ahead and guess math. Oh, it's self-correct, so it will show them the correct answer. All right, how many siblings does Martha have? I'm going to go with 1. I did get it correct. There's a little celebration there. And on your teacher screen during all of this, you will actually see like a leaderboard. So that's what it'll look like on your end. And again, this can be played independently or as a class. And And then I love, and the kids really like, that they award those places. They love trying to get in the top 3. It's really exciting. All right, so that's Time to Climb in a nutshell. I really hope you enjoy Time to Climb as much as me and my students do. We honestly use it, for exit tickets, for warm-ups, for icebreakers, community building activities. Honestly, you'll love it. A reminder, my blog post will go live this Saturday, and we are launching a brand new podcast channel. If you are interested in any of these things, please go to learninginprogress.com, and I will make sure to link everything in the description below. Hope to see you again next week. Thanks for joining us.